We're trying this again. We're going live. I am going to film the questions. Oh.
And how you are trying to solve this thing with the radars? Because, like, maybe you build a little bit more. Are you selling any equipment to put inside your car? Because I like your idea. That means that everyone who supports this 50+ car, right, can purchase these devices and use this. Maybe you like feel. Do you have this kind of radar? First thing. And the second thing. I forgot.
Yeah, but that's a great question. So, regarding LiDARs, yes, I think if you're just trying to solve like level 4, you need LiDARs. Cruise is trying to solve level 4. We try to solve like level 2, and we are committed to use vision only. Right now, those cars that have like those actuators that are like controllable in terms of like steering, gas, and brake, they also come with a radar. So we read the radar information on the radar that is already built in the car. So we are using that, yes. But in the future, we plan to not use it. We plan to not requiring any radar. We just plan to commit to vision only system. And so we don't plan yet to ship, like the camera that we ship comes with the device. So all the sensors to understand like the surrounding through vision comes with the device. But we don't plan like to ship any other hardware other than cams.
And just remind me, is your system preventing, it's only alerting, or it's also preventing some damage or some situation? Or right now you're on the stage?
Okay, so by default it alerts. However, it's like also a development kit. So you can install OpenPilot on it, and then with OpenPilot you have level 2 driving functionalities. You have the car basically pretty much like automated highway driving. So similar to what Tesla Autopilot is. So same kind of thing. And so right now, like it's called the Comma Ion, that development, like the device that you see on the right side of the slide. And this is what right now the only device that supports OpenPilot. But we are very open to have like more and more devices that actually could support OpenPilot, which is one of the main reasons why we put OpenPilot open source, so that people can actually port it to other hardware, other systems.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Do you have any plans to use or do you actually use any simulation when you're developing the system, or is it all on live data and live data capture?
No, we do use already simulators. We do use simulators to run regression tests, to develop our features. Of course, like we have to use simulators also like for tuning. We extensively use simulators, but the interesting simulators that we are building is the simulator that we hope is going to allow us to apply reinforcement learning to driving. So this is a kind of a different simulator that requires us having like a very good understanding of the surrounding, and then basically having the car, creating a system where the car can be automatically rewarded if it drives well, and being like, let's say, punished when it doesn't drive well, automatically understanding how to drive. This is like one of the research projects that we're working on, which we believe might allow us to have like a order of magnitude more scaling and having more leverage of the data that we have without having to code features for planning. So it's some sort of like how do we apply machine learning to the block that does like the planning of the self-driving. And so this is what like the simulator that we're building on is going to allow us to do. Yeah.
So the acronym was CAN. For the technology that's at the second layer or second level of intelligence, right? And so you've automated the 3 functions, the acceleration, the braking.
Yeah, CAN is like the protocol of communication in the car. So cars like have different like ECUs. The way that these ECUs communicate with each other is through this CAN protocol, which is the acronym of Communication Area Network.
Do you foresee any security vulnerabilities with these sort of connected devices, whether it's the CAN devices or the ones that you actually physically connect?
I mean, like CAN itself is off the network. Like you can't like have any car as a CAN protocol of communication since like many years. It's actually mandatory to use CAN since I think the 80s. So no, I mean you have to have physical access to the car in order to have like any sort of like vulnerability issues. like the real issues is like the fact that okay, you have devices that are connected on the internet, and yes, you have to make sure that you cannot have you're not going to have attacks through the internet connectivity of your device.
And none of these that is offered by you guys is internet connected.
Yeah, of course, yes. Our device is interconnected, and that's how we.
That piece could be compromised potentially.
Yeah, I mean it's the same thing basically that like the same problem that Tesla is, but like many cars like software like on the same problem. Like as we move forward, we're gonna see more and more cars having capability of being like updated over the air, right? This is the kind of thing that we believe is absolutely necessary. It's kind of like we believe it's like super strange that like a $30,000 object that you buy today cannot be updated over the air. Like if you need to do a software update, you have to go to the dealer to do an update. And regarding like safety, yes, I mean of course it's a concern, right? But like how many cars have been hacked in the last like I don't know, like how many cars have you ordered have been hacked and they made some damage because they've been hacked? So I think like probably zero. I mean I haven't ever heard about one. So it is a concern. It doesn't really seem like
scenario, but it's not a very practical. It's the worst case scenario.
Yes, of course, yes. Yes, it's not common. Yes.
I just want to follow two things. The first is just to follow up and clarify what she had said earlier about reading the sensors. So if whatever sensor suite is in place for the ADAS that comes with the car, you're able to use those sensors and incorporate it into OpenPilot, is that correct?
Correct.
And then towards the end here you were saying about items that are available for purchase. You mentioned something about if you wanted to know more about positioning of your vehicle, how precise is, so what is it? And
so this allows you, so it's like, so these are U-blocks. I'm not sure if you are familiar with localization system, but this uses like a U-blocks processing an antenna where you have access actually to all GPS. And so it's all about like how much post-processing you do about it, and you can get like very precise. You can actually like you use the correct like post-processing. And so in this regard, okay, this is like a little spoiler, but this week we're gonna release. Is Harald here? Harald is not here. So this week we're gonna like there's an engineer like our head of localization who is actually going to make an open source release of our tools to post-process raw GPS data and get like the best accuracy that you can get by doing post-processing. I mean like
so it's like micro GPS as opposed to regular. Like you would know the difference. What's the sensitivity like
in precision?
Yeah.
Well, so if we do the post-processing, not assuming that you do like any vision feature matching, which allows you to be even way more precise, so just by GPS and GPS processing and some sort of like filtering, like applying a Kalman filter on your like sensor data, like accelerometer, you can get between like half a meter precision,
so
like 50 centimeters.
Say between slow-moving traffic in a lane and a parked car?
Well, you would be able to localize.
If you have the map.
If you have the map, then you can have centimeter accuracy, because once you know which lane you are into, then you just have to find like some vision feature like lane lines and localize yourself very accurately within centimeter within the lane lines. So yes, I mean, this is not assuming any vision localization. If you want to use vision localization, then you can get like centimeter accurate, because for example, like as I said, like you know which lane you are into, you see where the lane lines are, and then you just localize yourself relatively to the lane lines for which you perfectly know the position because they are on your high definition maps, and then you can localize yourself at least in one dimension, which is the dimension that matters, within like a few centimeters.
And how much is it?
Oh, how much is it? I would say like sub 5 centimeters eventually. Like
no, I mean the price.
Oh, the price for this is $199. Yeah.
So $199 for that, and without camera, you can get pretty precise with post-processing. But
you can get like alpha meter with post-processing. Yes, we're gonna release the tools to actually achieve that.
And this is all the software that goes into it is open source.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. The thing that we're gonna release. Yes.
I have a question for you. So basically, to my understanding, like you're just using a say utilizing a Honda or like a Toyota, they have like their interface, right? TPP sensor, whatever the sensor interface, and you're building on top of that. Just take over the cam.
Oops. Sorry, we have our Canadian crew that's downstairs. So Maybe I'll have Eder film you guys while I go get that Canadian crew. I'm so sorry to interrupt. Yeah, he's talking. There's 24 people. Okay.
That's fine, don't worry.
Greg, can you do me a great big favor? Can you hold them until I'm back? I'm just gonna run and get the Canadians. So just hold.
Tesla is building like this technology for their own cars, and
Pega uma imagem maior.
the way it's monetized is going to be done by
Exato. Aí quando tu vê que tu uma área maior, isso ali mostra que uma área maior.
So the business model is like
Ou fala tools que a gente
we're not going to have such a thing, we're going to have this like,
e olhar tudinho, olhar qual é a parte da imagem Explorer. Não Explorer, não. Eu sei que tem agora só tu brincar que tu próprio dá. É massa. Autopilot chamado Autopilot Tools. E aí o Autopilot Tools ele mostra a área melhor, uma área maior. Além, a parte que ele detecta além do carro é melhor. Então, acho.
No, I mean in the sense of like lane keep assist with
Então, vários detalhezinhos, tem muita coisa que tipo,
provided
e aí, uma área maior, aí você vai conseguir enxergar mais caminho. Tem mais contexto para fazer como o carro vai fechar. É coisa assim que às vezes, tipo, pô, a gente pode falar pra comunidade, mas melhor deixar como e quando tu olha no todas aquelas vezes que eu tinha um carinho, pô, tá ligado? Então, mas empolgado mesmo é por dia. Acho que se eu
well, so we're also different from the other startup when we truly try to be self-sustainable. We try to actually make important revenues out of our hardware, and we also believe that the benefits that our community get by getting like our systems is very like justifying the sort of like the reason of buying it. And so I mean like so when you say like a rate for the minimize what it would be like.
Well, I mean, like, this big table, this is what we're saying. The people that want to buy
that's correct. Yes.
Like, you're limiting your scope to the people who want to buy.
That is right, but at the same time, we really try to keep the company sustainable. We try to make revenue. I mean, I understand, like, the trade-off is between, like, growth and actually making revenue. And I don't know, like, we're trying to make everything like as cheap as possible without like risking too much of the business.
But isn't the problem that you can make revenue with your
We're already making revenue, and Maps is basically a way to have the features better. We're already like on a pretty good track of having like the data that we want and good trade community helping us out with development. And yeah, we really can't build this thing I understand the trade-off. I mean, it's a same trade-off, but our community has been like super helpful, and they also appreciate like what they get from these development tools when they get. They're useful tools international.
From a regulatory perspective, you're going up against a Tesla. Tesla obviously has like a lot of resources in their own cars, and if they're going to do regulation, like if you watch the Bird, the Lines, in the Slack or whatever one in San Francisco, they immediately cut down to the one that kind of had the most basis in San Francisco, was most willing to work with the community, because I know there's a lot of backlash with self-driving cars. So what are you guys doing to like kind of get in front of it and make sure that like, I mean, all of a sudden if they rule that you can't just, you know, take over these old cars and put self-driving, like what do you do?
No, I mean, our plan is not like taking over the car that they exist unless people that own those cars wants to do that. Our plan is to define the standard for new cars. Our plan is like to engage with different suppliers and OEMs to actually build together like what those features are going to be. So this is like our plan. What we have today is an open source project, and we set a development kit that you can use to invest on it. So we don't try like we don't try necessarily like to take over all the cars that are out there unless like the owner of the car like, wants to do that. So it's not what we aim for.
Like, do you see the concern from maybe like a regulatory perspective that if somebody can just take some equipment and make their car self-driving, and you know, what if they're not fully compatible or something? Whereas like a Tesla, even if it's, you know, not as great as your product, isn't like, and so like, how are you, I don't know, maybe competing with such a like stabilized company within like with a name, and if there is regulatory crackdown?
I mean, like, as I said, like, we are not, regulatory doesn't really, like, apply to us because, like, it's not, our project is open source. Like, we are strongly believer in, like, open source project, like, having to read, like, anything else developing it. It's not something that, like, we are selling, like, we don't sell open pilot, and we are not aiming about, like, taking
Information.
It's like free information, like it's not even free speech, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like the analogy that
So maybe a better angle than Tesla's actually, if it's free information.
It's free information, yes. I mean, people can see what the code is, like it's free, like you see the code, you see how it interacts with your car. Very well.
So I read, I think maybe 6 months ago, I don't know, it was somebody from NVIDIA, might have been the CEO, but it was like an estimate that they thought for full autonomy for level 5 it would take 20 teraflops, and I think, I don't know what the current state of the hardware is for Tesla. I know they're revamping a new generation, but it's around 10 teraflops.
Yeah.
And Elon thought that might be enough, but if it's not, they're going to replace the hardware. Yeah. Is that still kind of the industry best guess for level 5? 20 teraflops, or do you think it might take more and more?
I don't know. I think that there is. It's not just a matter of computing. It's like how do you train? Like let's keep computing aside. How do you train? Like how do you build a system that's capable of like recognizing, understanding that like if there is a plastic bag is something you can run over, or understanding that if you have like maybe a luggage or something because you run over, you're gonna face some damage. Understanding all the long tail of those perception problems that actually they count. If you add them up, all these like single perception problems that you encounter like in your life, how do you solve them? So I'm not so sure it's like a computing issue. Let's say I'm gonna show you about the computing in the world. I still don't see like a plan or like something that like I don't see like a path for like level 5 yet. It's not. I don't think it's a matter of computing right now.
All right. So let me go with level 5. I assume there would be some kind of an AI, and the thing is, some of the AI algorithms that run today, whether it's not just in self-driving, but some other applications, when the machine learns and it creates a solution, a neural net, so to speak, you don't even understand anymore exactly how it works, right? So there's this that goes to the machine, so to speak. So once, I mean, I don't know if you guys are using AI, but if you are using AI, there may be certain neural, there may be some, a network of connections that somehow work, but you don't really understand how it works. It was just evolved in a sense, right?
Yeah, it just evolved, and the way that like you're sure like some sort of like you're better than a human, or it's okay, like releasing something that you don't understand is for simulations, right? You have like a lot of data, you run a lot of simulations, and even if you don't understand at all what's going on, you can like your way of
You understand the results.
you understand like the end-to-end behaves in a good way. And so this is why it's very important to build like simulators. But like, I don't think anybody has ever built like a simulator. Like the problem with building a simulator is that not only you have to build a simulator that simulates the world, it also needs to simulate correctly the behavior of other cars and what's which is like very, very complex. I don't think anybody is going to get close to doing something like that. And yeah, those are like stepping stones that we can solve before like having like a viable plan for the file.
Smells like pizza. Yeah, there's lots of it. There's space up there too. Can I move up actually?
Yeah. So I'm from the ground. Well, so I'm from Italy, already from my accent, you guessed it. I studied like mechanical engineering, and I was space engineering at bachelor, and then I switched to automotive mechanical engineering for master. I moved to United States. I did some work in electric vehicles. I moved to Tesla, worked at Tesla for about like 5-6 years, and worked a lot on autopilot. And then I joined Comma in 2016. And I met George, who's the founder of Comma, and I got very excited about the project. And I'm still here. So yeah, I'm very excited about like the idea of like solving practical problems. Like I see I get excited about problems where I see like huge opportunity of like making things better, and I just see like a huge disproportion of like investment and resources like towards like level 4. I just feel like, okay, well, let's work level 2. Like level 2 is definitely like overlooked, and so I'm excited about solving problems that like positive actual impact on people's life. Yes.
Thanks. By my understanding, there's issues of proprietariness about people's hardware. So currently, you can replace any part of the OS on any car in most US jurisdictions and most of the world. You invalidate your warranty.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have plans to sort of get, obviously that has to change.
Yeah.
Are you part of that change?
Well, of course, right? As I said before, like our plan is to work with OEMs, is to work with tier 1 supplier. We have to work together. Like in order to make OpenPilot successful, we need to ship it. Like we need to work together with OEMs. And so yeah, this is the plan. Like the plan is like it's not invalidating like the warranty of the car with aftermarket product. It's actually working with them and working together, like exchanging information about like how the interface of the car works and making it compatible, like 100% compatible.
Do you have key partners that are helping you with
We're
that?
working on it. Working on it.
Great.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Yes.
So is Baidu your biggest competitor then?
That's a good point. Like Baidu with the Apollo project, they're trying to do the same thing. I think like their approach is totally different from us. We try to make it working on cars that people own, which is why like we want to make it accessible, right? We want to make like OpenPilot something that people can access, and so we definitely try to achieve our end goal, but the way that we're doing is very different. Like we try to make OpenPilot working on today's car. They try to make OpenPilot like their Apollo project working on with cars that cost more than $100,000 and are just research projects, and so they're like and it only works on like very heavy computers. Like we use like consumer hardware. We use things that you can find in phones, like in smartphones that you can buy today. Is the hardware that is sufficient to run OpenPilot. So the direction is very different. We try to value like accessibility and early like transparency and early adaptability of the features, while I think Apollo is taking more like, okay, let's define like something that needs like very heavy. They basically didn't consider like any constraints in terms of like the cost, accessibility, and so the path to get there is different. We have more than 7 million miles. We plan to have like a little over than a year. As I said, like more than 100 million miles. I don't think like the Apollo project is ever going to get close to that. Like Apollo is now going to be able to define their own HD maps from the data their devices collect, because the amount of people using their devices is basically inexistent.
Well, currently, I mean, it's China, so as soon as they start, and they're the sanctioned provider for autonomy in China, so as soon as that switch gets flipped, the numbers should go up rapidly.
It's possible, but like, I mean, like, okay, so which hardware do they need? Do they need like lidars? So do they need I mean, like, I have not seen like a car driving with Apollo and having like satisfactory level 2 systems. So like I've seen like demos of very expensive cars with lidars, cameras, radars all around the car, and probably driving with Apollo, but like it doesn't seem like they are on a path of shippability in terms of like, are they on a path of like shipping their product anytime soon? Are they ready to ship it anytime soon? So we try to be ahead in that sense by developing it on cars and cheap hardware that can be found in today's car.
If you're thinking about the development cycle of automobiles,
so much better.
You know, focusing on level 2, if it takes 5 years to build into a car, etc., and you're talking about level 2, and hopefully level 4 will have taken off in fleets, at least in some parts of the world by then, what is the selling point? So if I'm a tier 1 or I'm an OEM, what are you going to tell me that is going to make me say yes to Comma?
Yeah, well, so level 4, as I said, it's not gonna make like the majority of people's life better. It's only gonna work like in very limited environment. It's not proven to work yet. I know like Waymo announced that they shipped this month their first like program. I mean, there's still like a driver behind the wheel. It only works in very clement weather, like in Arizona. I'm not like I don't think like level 4 is gonna end car ownership. This is like the main point. Like people are still gonna buy cars for many years, like decades from now. So the problem, like we are not competing with Waymo. We are not competing with this idea of like creating level 4 system. I actually hope that they succeed. I'm not so sure they're gonna make people's life better, because like problem in San Francisco is like traffic is the main problem, right? And so making transportation cheaper in cars, does it make traffic better? No, probably it's gonna make it worse. Like it's probably gonna make like Waymo working in San Francisco it's probably gonna make like our commute worse. It's gonna make it probably cheaper, but worse. Like we're gonna spend more time in traffic. So
are you saying Comma would make it better?
I'm saying Comma doesn't try to make a commute in cities cheaper. It's going to try to make it better, but not cheaper. It's going to try to make your commute on highway definitely better. It's already better today with OpenPilot. I don't know. I just think like trying to solve like the thing that level 4 is trying to solve could be solved in different ways. Maybe better public transportation. Maybe like we already have what we need for level 4. I don't know. Like not so sure that level 4 is it's gonna solve practical problems. But I'm excited about the project. I'm excited about like the technical challenge of. It seems like a cool robotic project to solve, like a cool like artificial intelligence problem to solve, and so I look forward to it. But it doesn't affect what we do.
Let's stop there so people can get some food, and engineers are here. We have a shop. We have a mobile shop with us, so if you want to get tour t-shirts, if you want to get Eons, if you want to get giraffes, pandas, whatever, Nick will be working that back there, or wherever, Nick, outside. Yeah, help your guys to pizza, and thank you so much for coming. Like I said, people will be here to continue answering your questions, and yeah, thank you guys. All right, bye, Scopies.